EA Sports.
EA Sports.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's in the game. I guarantee you, baby, it's in the game.
One black shoe, one white shoe. It's in the game.
Madden NFL 2005.
Over the past several decades, EA Sports and its most popular franchise, Madden, has been one of the most profitable video games ever, making billions of dollars year after year. The financial success of the series is quite disheartening for fans, as EA hasn't released a good Madden game, let alone a great one in over a decade. Sure, some of the Madden titles over the years have been pretty fun to play, but Madden's offline modes, such as Franchise, rapidly lost content once EA made the switch from the 6th gen of consoles to the 7th gen. The PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and GameCube Maddens are some of the most in-depth football management simulators, which is a far cry from the basic and bare-bones franchise mode in the current iterations of Madden.
Let's start with all the features that were once in Madden games and are now completely missing. Create a team, where you can create a team with any logo, color, or uniform template you want. Create a playbook with Create a Play, where you could design your own play and use it in games. Full coaching staffs featuring licensed offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators. Situation mode in practice where you can create a custom starting point in a game and jump in. A true NFL Superstar career mode where you could play as any position, even a kicker, and play through a career with your own apartment, along with activities outside of football like movie acting. Create a fan, design a fan, and watch him appear in the stands during a game. Pre-game warm-ups and predictions. Actual practice jerseys during practice drills rather than 21's full game day attire. Multiple practice fields for scrimmages. Referees. They even throw flags onto the field. Broken record notifications in-game. Helmets popping off, although this was removed due to the NFL's request, along with concussions as an injury, an ambulance driving onto the field to pick up injured players, and dynamic attendance where fans would leave during blowouts. Yes, all 89 of those features were in previous Madden games and then removed.
I would assume that most of you are familiar with Soft Drink TV, but for some reason if you're not, I would highly recommend his channel, as he has great commentary on all kinds of sports games, not just Madden, from professional to collegiate to even arcade games. When EA announced the return of its college football franchise, gamers around the country rejoiced as this would be the first NCAA game in over 11 years. But I'm sure there were many, including myself, that were skeptical at first due to the recent track record of Madden, focusing on Ultimate Team while leaving the offline players with the same Super Bowl celebrations year after year. But unlike Madden, which is forced to release year after year with minimum changes, College Football 25 would be given multiple years of development.
Wants to throw on first down. Off and the ball is intercepted.
Kevin Carter, the sacks he came up with. Dante Fowler some speed on. The catch is made for a huge pick.
Escapes the pressure to his right. Steps away to find some room. Snagged in the end zone. Third and long, and he'll try to throw for it. Ball in the air, intercepted.
EA Sports started development of College Football 25 4 years ago in 2020, and began to ramp up production after the NCAA's name, image, and likeness policy for collegiate athletes went into effect on July 1st of 2021. The game was developed using the same engine as the Madden games, which gave fans reasonable skepticism, assuming that EA would release another Madden clone with 134 college teams. Although the game can feel reminiscent of Madden at times, college football feels completely different to play, thanks to hundreds of new animations for both offense and defense, faster gameplay that leads to more dynamic moments, and expanded playbooks, which makes each team feel unique with more trick plays, option runs, and RPOs. To quote Soft Drink TV,
This feels like 5 years of progress from Madden 24's gameplay. It feels like I'm playing Madden 29. It blows my mind how good this game plays.
something that every Madden player will notice right away before playing a single game mode is the highly improved presentation. There's been hundreds of hours put into the main menu screen alone, as there's 134 different main menu variations for everyone's favorite team. Although, I wish there was a way to put them on shuffle mode because my Penn State menu got pretty boring after several hours. When selecting a school to use and play now, each team is presented with highly detailed helmets, and once you get into a game, college football continues to impress with its presentation, featuring 2 different broadcast booths and one of the best scoreboards in all of sports video games. On top of that, even more time was put into motion capture, which the development team did a great job of recreating team traditions, walkouts, home crowds, and between the action moments that help immerse players in the game, both literally and figuratively. Every school has had their signature ritual recreated. However, there's a few in which EA chose not to purchase the licensing for certain songs. The most obvious one being Virginia Tech, which in real life walks out to Enter Sandman by Metallica and has arguably the most gripping atmosphere in college football.
Show me, don't tell me.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Nestled in the hills of Virginia, we are touching the Hokie Stone, means remembering the legends who formed the foundation of a power. Names like Vic and Beamer, and a lunch pail mentality that applies to the Virginia Tech Hokies.
There's a few more that aren't perfect either. For example, the Wisconsin Badgers don't walk out to jump around like they do in real life. But disregarding music licensing, nearly every single team is faithfully recreated, including the players too. Obviously, it would be impractical for EA to face scan literally thousands of college players into the game, so instead they chose to use AI technology that uses images to generate the face models for players. Some of them are pretty spot on, while some players look nothing like their real life counterparts, but football is played with helmets on, so it really doesn't matter how accurate the faces are. However, this AI technology is perfect for generating endless amounts of high school prospects for the Dynasty mode. If you're anything like me, then you love a good franchise mode. That's one of the main reasons why I despise the Madden games, because that franchise mode has been on a tremendous decline for nearly 2 decades. Hopefully the EA executives are paying attention, because the team behind College Football 25 absolutely knocked it out of the park with the Dynasty mode. Is it the most in-depth franchise mode? No. But for the first college football game in 11 years, I don't think fans could have asked for more. Majority of your time in Dynasty will be spent recruiting high school players, and depending on what school you choose, recruiting can look pretty different. Every team has a certain amount of hours that they can spend each week on recruiting or scouting, and the top schools have over 1,000 hours a week, compared to some of the worst that only have a few hundred. However, if you choose one of the better teams in the game, it can still be a challenge to obtain the best recruiting class, as you're also competing with all the other top schools. For newcomers, recruiting can be pretty intimidating, as there's thousands of high school prospects to look at. What most players should do is sort the prospects that already have interest in your school, starting with the 5-star prospects, which will only have interest in the best programs, then focusing mainly on 4-star prospects, and resorting to 3 stars if your school has a low reputation. As the weeks go by, you'll be able to find 4-star recruits that aren't receiving as much attention as others. This is your opportunity as a small school to send the house and snatch a good recruit before the big schools take notice. Then in the off-season, the transfer portal opens up, which works the same way as recruiting high school players, except that there aren't as many highly sought-after transfers as there are recruits. The recruiting system in College Football 25 is well done and addicting. Since the game has come out, I have poured hours into the recruiting menus alone, as I listen to the same drumline over and over again. Quick side tangent, but a lot of people are making a big deal about the main menus only having one song that endlessly repeats. Now, I won't argue that having more variation would have been a good thing, but at no point did I ever want to mute the drumline. Although the Dynasty mode is an excellent sports sandbox, I do worry about how long it'll take before the game mode gets stale and repetitive, because outside of recruiting, the game mode is missing some pretty basic features. First of all, there's no practice option for your team, and I know you can go to the main menu and practice with any of the base teams in the game, but what if I want to take my Dynasty team on the practice field and test out some of the bench players? There's a lot of features that EA could add over the years to flesh out the Dynasty mode even more, and even though I can give them their flowers for making their best game in years, I worry about how the yearly releases of college football will affect the gameplay improvements and content additions. Another annoyance I've encountered in Dynasty and the other game modes is not being able to skip cutscenes. Mainly at the end of games when I just want to move on, but I'm forced to watch the players interlink and look at the crowd. This is only a minor occurrence in Dynasty, but it's pretty prevalent in college football's other main game mode. Road to Glory is easily the best career mode in any sports game, and that's because EA decided to keep it simple. There's no cutscenes and no microtransactions, but unlike Madden's near non-existent career mode, Road to Glory actually has some depth and role-playing elements. You are a student athlete, which means you have to balance studying to keep your GPA up, practicing to improve your skills, recovering to avoid injury, managing your social media brand, signing NLI deals, and attending film rooms to increase your relationship with your coach. One thing I can say is that in Road to Glory, no two careers will feel the same. If you really want to, you can start off as a 5-star prospect and easily become a starter in your freshman season, regardless of what team you commit to. Or you can be on the other side of the spectrum and play as a 60 overall underdog. Now, if you do go ahead and try out the underdog challenge, just be ready to ride the bench all the way to your senior year as you grind your way to become a good player. For the most fair challenge, create a 3-star recruit and join one of the bad teams where you can compete for a starting spot by either the end of your freshman year or the start of your sophomore year. Then, whenever you feel comfortable, enter the transfer portal your junior or senior year and take your talents to a team that can compete for a national championship. Just like Dynasty, I'm really happy with what we got in Road to Glory, but I do think there's a lot that needs to be added and changed over the next several iterations of college football. First of all, I am one of the people that is upset that there isn't an option to play in high school, but I do understand why the team decided to cut high school and just jump straight to college. Hopefully in next year's college football they bring back the high school games, and maybe they can give us an option to skip it if we would like to. Also, in next year's version of Road to Glory, we need more positions to play as. Currently, you can only be a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, middle linebacker, or a defensive back. But why only those 5 positions? Why can't we play as a tight end, or as a safety, or play on the defensive line? Hell, why can't you play as an offensive lineman? I know only a small niche of people would ever try to play as an offensive lineman, but the original Madden and NCAA games would let you do it. So damn it, a 2024 modern football game should let you play as a tight end or a safety, let alone a defensive or offensive lineman. Even then, you can still have fun and be immersed with the positions available. EA needs to improve being substituted out of the plays. Now, this isn't an issue for quarterbacks, but for running backs and wide receivers, you're subbed out every few plays. Now, I'm not mad about having to go to the sidelines, but whenever this happens, you're forced to watch an unskippable cutscene for 2 or 3 seconds and return to a menu where the next few plays are simulated. It would be one thing if the gameplay was interrupted by an unskippable cutscene for a few times a game, but it ends up happening a few times every single offensive drive, which can make some games a chore to get through. EA could easily fix this annoyance by having our players run to the sidelines and watch the next plays occur in real time. This can help preserve immersion as you never have to go to a menu screen, but it would also be less annoying as everything would play out in-game instead of the same exact cutscene being played over and over again. Now, I've given my fair share of criticism towards the game, but I just want to reiterate that this is easily the best EA Sports game in a very long time. Does it have the deepest franchise mode? No. Does it have the most detailed career mode? Absolutely not. Does it have the most realistic gameplay? I think EA is incapable of making a realistic sports game. But unlike Madden, I have enjoyed nearly every minute of college football. And whenever I'm away from the game, I'm daydreaming of my Dynasty team or what Road to Glory player I should make next. This is the first time in a while in which a sports game community has been able to come together and celebrate a sports game that is not only fun, but doesn't shove microtransactions into the offline game modes. Now, I know college football has an Ultimate Team mode like Madden, but fuck Ultimate Team.
I hate you. You always ruin everything.
If you haven't picked up the game yet, what are you doing? Go ahead and play College Football 25. I'm pretty sure Xbox's Game Pass offers a 10-hour free trial. Mess around with all the different teams and playbooks, create your own college player and rebuild a shitty college program from the ground up. I just started this YouTube channel earlier this year, but I'm already making a second channel. I'll put the link for that channel in the description of this video, and over there I'll be posting all kinds of video game content. Starting off, over the next few weeks and months, I'll be posting college football content. So if that sounds fun to you, go ahead and check it out. Thank you for watching.